Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and a while ago I did a video on the Impact Poly Hammers, and if you don't know, they are a Canadian company out of Saskatoon that actually focuses their hammer business on dead blows that are hot cast polyurethane. Heavy steel on the insides of these things. A lot of companies that make dead blows or these kind of plastic or polyurethane hammers use more of an injection molding. But anyway, I absolutely love these two hammers. What I was doing was noticing that these are the ones that I often grab, and so I thought I'd revisit them on a video. Now, the impact is obviously deadened by the material inside this, pounding on a railroad tie here. But I also have some snap-ons. They are well known for their dead blows. But I also started playing around with the weights on these things to try to figure out why is it that I appreciate these. Now this one I do use for woodworking and for antique furniture restoration. There's just something about this kind of classic or vintage square head on essentially a modern polyurethane tool. Non-marring, very elegant design, for a block on a stick, basically. It's where it all started. But let's take a look at a couple of things. I do find I grab this one for a lot of more mechanical applications, whereas obviously this one is more, organic materials like wood. But let's look at the weights of these things. If you read close here, this says 14-ounce dead blow. Oh, and before I forget, there is now a drawing on the Impact Polyhammers website. There's a link in the description where you can actually enter a contest to get their brand new dual-face dead blow hammer. It looks like an amazing hammer. Just an outstanding design. I love how these things are evolving quickly. You think maybe a hammer hasn't been changing much over the last, 10,000 years, but there's some pretty cool stuff in the hammer space. But anyway, this is a 14-ounce hammer. Okay, if I grab this snap-on here, snap-on says that theirs, you can read that in that lime green, is a 20-ounce hammer. So here they are, very similar. And then the smaller one here, this is a 10-ounce hammer, or half of this one. Now where I'm going with this is, let's take a look at something. I'm going to grab a scale. Of course, that's where we're headed, right? Always to the scale. And I'll set this up for ounces, and hopefully get that so you can see it right there. So I'm going to take, first of all, the Impact Poly Hammer 14-ounce. As you can see, 14-ounce. Get that there in the light, dead blow. Set it on here, and in ounces I've got about 19.5. Now what I'll do is take the 20-ounce snap-on, put it on there, 17.2. What about a 10-ounce snap-on? 11. So this one's pretty close. This one for a 20-ouncer is a little on the light side, but then I thought, well, is it the head? So what I've done is tried to come up with a way to get a breakdown between the head and the handle, taking into the handle length. So what I'm going to do is set the head on here and put a level on the handle and raise that up. So I've got roughly 13.8 ounces on this. Look at that, 14-ounce hammer, so pretty much dead on. That's kind of cool. Let's try the snap-on here. So I'll set the head in the center, and then the level as best I can right here on this hammer. Okay, and then raise that till it's level. Right there, what do I have? I've got 13 point... Might get that, whoops, lower it just a little, 13.7 maybe. So these are almost identical. Snap-on says 20-ounce, Impact Poly Hammer says 14-ounce. So to me that might be a little bit more accurate. And then if I go down to this little 10, what do you think that one's going to be? It says 10 ounces here. I'll line that up, put on my level just to try to get a way to balance that evenly. Right there, 8.2. So this one comes in under. But anyway, I don't know if that really matters. What it is the feel and the actual amount of striking force you want to generate. Of course, I could use something great big, switch materials, but this one has been going with me in kits. It's just an outstanding hammer. And then in the shop, this is the one I often grab when I've got to work with anything, wooden. And it just feels good in the hand. I love the square head. It's easy to place the force, and if you need just bulk impact, there's a nice strong force there. And sometimes, I use a larger face on it, a larger size. I've even been known to hit with it. It's kind of beat up, but hit with the bottom as well. But if you know more about how these hammers are actually measured, or if you've got a favorite one, let me know. I mean, I've kind of been a big fan of the snap-ons. They do melt, and that's not covered. In fact, I'm impressed with the temperature range of these. This one usually lives out in the garage, and it's good down to about -30, and I don't have to say Fahrenheit or Celsius because it kind of doesn't matter at that point. It's down cold. You do want to be a little careful with plastic stuff at that temperature, but for working out in the garage in really cold days, it's a great design. I also really appreciate that flat spot. You can drop it down and have it stand up. Some of these, like this, here's a magnet. Whoops. Right there. Can also help keep that thing upright. I'm going to go into some of the stuff on magnets. I'm trying to solve some problems. But anyway, there it is. Just a revisit of the Impact Poly hammers out of Canada. And through January, there is a contest to win their brand new dual-faced dead blow. Just a gorgeous hammer. So take a look at that. You decide. But anyway, with that, Doc out.